Well guys, I'm finally got to a point where all the parts for this Gibson Titan have come in. And I've had to wait 6 weeks for those parts. Unbelievable. But they've come in. 3 of them, which were very rare. I have to admit, it was hard to get them. But I insist upon on those particular parts being the same as what's coming out of it, with the exception of this giant monster you see here, this giant 3-way capacitor. In that, first of all, they don't make these anymore, not these values. And even one that was close was 200 bucks. You know, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, so we're back working on the Titan again, and the first thing we're going to do is point out some things on this amp that are going on, so it's clear to everybody, especially the owner, what all had to be done to fix this thing. All right, as you can see, the transformer's really crusty. All right, but he said it was working at one point in time. I will be cleaning that up as best I can, trying to get that squared away. Jeez, us. What a mess. Anyway, everything in there, inside of it, has a nice, thick, heat-proof wiring, which you see has gone dark, but still, there's no shorts in it, so I've tested continuity on everything in here. Alright? Of course, I haven't tested the continuity on these new cord yet, but I'll explain it to you in a minute after I explain this. Alright? You look up here, someone had been running this with a 6V6 instead of a 5Y3. It was cheaper, you know, just put 3 6V6 in there. And it ran, you know, kind of okay. Alright. But the amp calls for a 5Y3. It's about 10 bucks more expensive, so I went and bought it. You know, I told them I'm going to put the right stuff in there. It doesn't make any sense to put the wrong things in, and when you're replacing everything anyway. So that was a problem with this amp. Also, the pots on it are on the shot side. Okay, so those will be replaced and put new 1 meg pots in there. And this will be replaced with 3, sorry guys, this great big capacitor here will be replaced with 3 brand new capacitors of the exact same values. And like I said, we're going to replace the 2-prong death heads cap power cord with a 3-pronger, right? It's grounded, okay? And I get these cords from all over. All right, they come with devices I don't need the cord for. Right, I'll buy these in bulk, like 5 or 6 at a time online. But the first thing you've got to do if you buy these things, I don't care if they're new or not. First thing I do when I get these, before I put them onto an amp, I check continuity, make sure there's no shorts in these things. So hang in there. Alright, so I've got my meter on test, on the continuity test, and my first test to do will be, I'll test on the right side. Right, so the right side is the white. Alright, try the other side, be black. Right, good. And of course we will test the ground, of course. Hold on. And they're all working. There's continuity on all those lines, no shorts in it. Alright, so continuity is good on the power cord. Now it's time to back off and show you what we're going to do to attach this into the body of the amp itself. Alright, now what I've done, I've ran the power wire through the old hole for the original 2-prong wire. So I've got these different size strain gauges in here, and I'm not holding out any hope that I can find one to fit this darn little bugger, but maybe I'll get it from one of the used ones I have in here if the new ones don't fit. And if it comes down to it, I can always put a grommet in there and a pull tie front and back to keep it from being pulled out. Putting a a grommet in there instead. Alright. So I can find one to fit that and close it up some. I'll tell you what, one thing about rubber, it's definitely got an odor to it. And this is rubber. These aren't plastic. It smells like old tires, you know? It's like, ew. And of course I got all kinds of wiring in the way back here. Oh, jeez. Alright, let's take it back out again. Let's run that through and run it through the chassis. I should go ahead and wire these together so they don't fray up a lot. Well, somebody wanted me, but they hung up on me. Call me back, I'm busy. And of course that's not going to be the one I use because it won't fit. Let's see who's calling. Alright, so now I've got the 3 major capacitors I'm replacing, this one giant one back here, with this major can cap, right? I've got these hot glued together to form a unit, as well as on the bottom to keep them going anywhere, inside the amplifier. Now, it's not cured yet 100%, but it's pretty cool. But anyway, twist tie is good for like belt and suspenders, but you can see that something else leaked on it as well, and something inside this amp I think has burned. It's got all the earmarks of burn, you know, and it smells burn. Anyway, also they've rigged this differently than the original. They've taken off the power leads from the transformer into the on switch and ran them off a couple of legs on the second valve, and it's like, that's insane. That's what they did, and I'm not sure why they did that. They're having problems, intermittent problems with the amp itself, you know. It couldn't be problems with the lamp, I mean, geez. But then when they rewired that up, and sure not to the schematics, every time I look at that wiring confuses the hell out of me. It's like, what were they thinking? You know, here are the 2 original leads they cut free, and why they did that, I'd really like to know what their train of thought was behind that. Anybody else could, you know, give me an idea, why would you do this? You know, I sure like to know. Alright guys, well, it's time to get in there now. I got the parts for this thing. And the first thing I need to do is just go ahead and get rid of this big ass capacitor in here that you're looking at right now, this big canister here. And like I said before in previous videos, it's got 3 values to it, and it's very expensive to replace these if I could find the values that it has, which I can't find. But I was able to find 3 individual capacitors of the same values. So what I'm going to do is run this these 3 off these leads I have here, and I'll check those to make sure they're good. But I've got to take them off the cap first. I've already got them labeled what they are, so that's going to be a pretty much easy little test to do. Let's just verify one more time I got these down right. So the yellow is the square, which is 30. The blue is the triangle, which is 20. And the little half circle is the 80. Let's make sure I wrote that down right. Go ahead and cut those free, because I'm not going to go spend any more time than I have to on this thing. Alrighty. I'll cut those close, so I'll have something to work with when I replace them. I'll have to strip back that plastic and get to them again, which I didn't want to do, but that's what it looks like we're going to do. I've got plenty of lead on these things, and there she comes. So we got one big bad old tooth out of there, and I'll strip those wires back and place this in here now. See how it's going to fit. Let's see. Let's get everything out of its way first. Okay, no problem fitting in here. It's just where I'm going to make it ride. Okay, guys, I didn't expect this. I didn't even see it in there. All the wiring, the plastic's covering the wiring. But I'm looking at aluminum wiring. All right. Still not copper. I guess that's aluminum. It could be steel, but that's not good. So it looks like I'm going to be replacing that with tinned copper wire to attach these caps. Man, I tell you, they cheaped out when they did this thing. And it's amazing it's worth so much money, but they're so rare. Anyway, one of the leads pulled free from the pin it was attached to right here. That came loose. So I gotta clean that up now and try to get it working again. And it's just a solid nightmare of solder right now. Gosh, still have to undo this right here, and it's just a burnt mark on it. It's driving me crazy. And the ground to it goes up to another pin, I'm pretty sure, and I think something in there is loose, but I can't really tell that much. Get more light on the subject here. See what the hell's going on with this thing. Yeah, that's the wire it runs to. But there is, well, that's not wire, that's just dirt. That's just a piece of paper's gotten in there somehow. Shit. Maybe my cleaning tissue, maybe. But that ground wire is led right into this pin, and it's hidden by two others. And that pin looks like it's broken, maybe. I'll have to check that out. So I'm kind of stuck with these jacks the way it is, okay? With these sockets. Some more dirt in there, crap in there. God almighty. I keep finding old junk in this thing. And those wires look just as crusty as hell, but it's mainly dirt. And there's no burn, it's dirt. Okay, I hope that's what it is, but there's no burn marks. It's just, you know, like I said, just caked on dirt. I've got to go in there, put a new lead wire on that, and get it soldered in for that cap to be attached. Okay, so I've reattached this 30 back to the lead it's supposed to be, but I used the right type cable. This is new plastic, but it's tinned copper. So underneath that solder is copper, which is what I want. It's the best signal that you can get. And I don't want to rest these leads off of these caps on these pins for the tubes, because they're just so weak. I only weight on there if I can keep from it. Just the way of the wire itself. And I'm pretty sure that's why they did it this way. You know, they didn't want to put weight on them, so they had them separated just like I'm doing right now. So I'm just copying what I saw originally, which I think is a good idea, you know. So we'll see. Anyway, now all I got to do is connect this ground lead, this black ground lead, to all these negatives on this side. And I'm going to have to exchange that wire anyway, but man, is it ever in there badly. And on a loose pin, of all things, and it's wrapped way behind all these other parts, all these other wires. I can just barely get that red wire out of there, and it's on a loose pin that's kind of shaky itself, so I didn't want to damage it, so I used it anyway, and used it as it is. The other ones are in there soldered nice and well. However, the one wire that runs to one of the caps is on a strange little electronics board. It doesn't have a hole in it. It's actually got just a kind of a horseshoe shape to it that you have to solder onto. It's meant for just the legs of resistors just to lay on top of it and solder over the top of it is what I'm talking about. But anyway, we got that all soldered up. Just gotta pull that negative wire out, that ground, and pull it around to actually use it or replace it, one or the other. Okay guys, for the most part I've got these things wired up except for the negative. And what I've done, I've made a little harness here on the back that I can also use to help alleviate the weight of these caps on these leads, since these pins are so delicate back here to these tube sockets. I mean, geez, I hate to even breathe on them. I will have to extend the length of the negative cable, the ground cable, but that's not going to be a problem. Just put some more black wire on there and solder it up and hit it with a heat gun. In the meantime, I've got this set up like a harness so I can actually, let kind of sit in there and counterbalance it against this with some zip locks. Okay, the best I can think of. I don't want that metal strap in there anymore. I'm concerned about that. I think that's a bad idea. But we'll see how we come up with some plastics to kind of hold it in place on at least two sides, okay? You follow me? So I think that's going to work the best. Now I can attach it to these spots in here that won't cause a problem. Okay guys, well, this got me still a bit confused on what they've done here on this modification they did to the lamp wiring. They disconnected it from its regular wiring, right? They ran it all off a socket, the center socket of the power tubes. I had one guy said it's a sucker play where it makes the bulb light brighter, makes people think it's working better or whatever. That's still working in other ways or whatever, it's worth buying. One guy said that it helps eliminate a buzz that the old wiring created, which I'm more leaning towards the, there was a hum or buzz that this thing was creating, all right? But I'm not 100% sure because I don't know why the hell they did this. But they did do it. They cut it free from the transformer and over to the on-off switch where it used to run, and ran it all off that one socket there. You can see that. I hope that light doesn't just make a mess of it, but it's the wiring that goes all the way back in the socket. Both of them go there, different pins obviously. But one thing's for sure, it does glow a lot brighter than most tubes I've ever seen on these old amps. Like, wow, it's like a beacon. You saw it earlier. Anyway, what I'm doing today, I'm going to go ahead and wire it up per the diagram that everybody sent me and talked to me. I've had, like I said, two other experts that I consult with when I get questions like this, like, why the hell is this? These are the guys I go to, all right? They've been in business a lot longer than I have. They all have like 30 years experience each, and that's like 60 years equivalent. But I'm making sure this thing is safe before it gets out of my shop, because it is, very curious they did this. And like I said, I think it's because there was a buzzing or humming issue. But not taking any chances. I'm also covering all this ground wire and grounding it to the lug on the transformer, and putting electrical tape over it and soldered it. Man, it's on there secure. I can guarantee you it's not going to be pulled out anytime soon. It's got an eyelet on it. And I'll finish up these others here soon and show you what I've decided to do, how I'm going to wire this. But brother, it is very confusing because all the diagrams I see about this amp don't match any of this, obviously. And even the conversions I've seen don't match it. So it's like, what the hell? I don't modify amps. I don't invent them. I just follow the schematics and just do what it says to do. But I think I got some pretty good advice on this, so I'll go ahead and get this up and running. But of course, I'll be having it on a ground loop tester first to make sure I don't blow any parts or any tubes I put in here. I'll give it a shot to see if that little light bulb lights up. We have a ground fault. Okay, so hang in there. Okay, guys, on the Gibson, I didn't get real creative with it. Basically, I chickened out. I just put it right back the way it's supposed to be. How it was originally made. I don't know why they changed up the wiring on that light. fixture itself and ran it off the socket rather than having it come off the transformer. So I put it right back where it belonged, the way it came. Then I disconnected it. No, really. Anyway, I put it back in the configuration it originally came in, and then ran the 3-prong up to it and did its changeovers accordingly. Okay? To make it very simple. Now, it has a nice 12-foot 3-prong cord on it. Of course, the next thing you do is finish off the cap replacements on it. Get that on there. Get this all tucked away. Now, the original leads that came off the socket, I've capped those and put them underneath the rim here, which I'll tape them down and make sure they don't go anywhere inside the amp itself, but they're all shut down. I didn't remove them from the socket because the socket's very weak, the pin's very weak, and the soldering's just not the best in the world. There's other lines, relying upon those pins. So I didn't want to tell the guy, oh, by the way, you're gonna have to put another $100 in for sockets. No, he wants to keep this cheap and as inexpensive as he possibly can. And I think this should be okay for a long time to come, as long as you get in there and just yank them and push them around. As long as you're careful putting new tubes in and out of it, and not being no horsing them around with it. Okay, but yes, it's a 60-year-old amp, and things do get brittle and things get old on it. But anyway, I think we've just about got all the nastiness out of the way with this amp, and we should really get it playing again now that we've done all these changes, because so many things that were broken on it. When I took it apart and tested it, I found so many different things that were wrong with it. There's no way it could have actually played any tones. If it did for a few seconds and everything on blew. But beyond that, we got some more caps to replace on the little transistor, the resistor board. We've got some resistor to replace that are bad, and that should take about the morning tomorrow. And tomorrow afternoon we'll run up some power tests on it, starting off with a ground loop test, ground fault test, to see if there's any problems with it before it gets fried. And we heard any tubes or anything inside, anything new inside of it. If that goes good, we'll put on the Variac and go for about 15-20 minutes on a first test, run it through its paces, and then we'll go through and check it internally, make sure there's nothing gone wrong, and then put it up for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, reform these caps, or set them up, these brand new caps in here, get them formed up and working well before we hand it over to the owner, and he has to do it himself. Now, I still haven't decided how to hang that new set of caps. I may just hot glue them to the chassis. There is enough room in there around around this doggone screw that's in there holding down the other transformer. It's not the right kind of screw. It should be a bolt and a nut, not a metal screw with a hard tip. So I can't really push down on it. But anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll get it all set up and running here soon, so hang in there. Okay guys, last bit of little maintenance on this amplifier. I'm going to clean the speaker off. And I'm not going to spray it in there. That'd be a hoot to get that comb wet. I have to wait till it dries. So we're about to start this little puppy up and do its testings, alright? Now, going on next are the cords, or the wires to the speaker. And I'm going to extend these and heat shrink some extensions on this with some corded wires like this is, single strand corded wire. And make this where it's not so tight in there, to whereas there's a problem if something gets bumped. So hang in there while I set that up. Okay guys, when you're using a stranded wire on both ends, you can take those strands and mix them together and twist them to form a better connection. You don't have to worry so much about them coming apart once you put the heat to them for the heat shrink. Alright? But the next trick is to make sure you don't go too heavy on this solder. And it shouldn't use a lot. I'm trying to get it soaked into these strands just like that. Okay? And that should form a pretty good connection. Now the trick is to remember the configuration of these things. Find out where the spot is like that. And the way I do it is just very gently take it across the circle until I find it, and there she is. And put a little gentle pressure to put it in. Like that. Alright, there it's on. Whoopsie, somebody's at the door. Now, we're going to put some 6v6s in here like it's supposed to be, and these also have been pre-set up by the company I buy these from, and I really appreciate that because a lot of companies don't do that anymore. Put these 6v6s in here, get them to fit, just like that. Okay. I'll check that here in a minute. It's got like a wing to it that I don't like seeing. Of course, these are old sockets and they do have some problems with them. But I didn't want to make this guy go with extra expense of replacing them if they can still be used. Alright, baby. Find your spot. Not like that. Okay? And now here's the big difference, guys, between what was done to this amp previously and what I'm doing. For some unknown reason, they put 3 6v6s in here instead of a 5Y3. And I think it's just the cost differential, or that's what they had available. I'm not really sure. But I'm that old-fashioned type of guy. I always put back what came out and what's supposed to go in. And again, that's why I don't modify anything. You know, I just don't have the skills, I don't have the experience. You go in here and go, oh, let's create a new circuit completely. No, I can't do that. I just repair what's broken and get it running again at a very, very cheap price. All right, we're back on the Gibson GA14, working on it. Now, we had a run-up test yesterday on this amp. And I put new power caps on here. And the very first thing you do is make sure those are discharged. You know, maybe sticking my hands in there with these things fully loaded up. Now I don't think they're fully done, so I only left it on there 5 minutes. So I know they haven't formed up completely yet. It's impossible to do that fast. But they're bound to have some residual power left on them. And I just don't want that little zap or big zap this early in the day. It just kind of will spoil my day, as well as piss off some other people in my shop. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is put the dusty trusty little discharge unit on it, okay, and get this power off these things. You see that light come on? Beep beep. That means we got power. So we gotta leave that on there until that little light goes out. Shouldn't take too long. There it goes. Still got a little bit left in it. So I'll make sure it goes dead. And what we do, guys, we just simply put this to ground. There it went. Alright, we simply put the red lead to ground, the black to the power cap, and then let it discharge. It's not hard to do, and doesn't take any special devices. I've got a nice one here. It's just for my safety, and I saw it was online on sale, so I went ahead and got it. But I used to have just a probe and a resistor, you know, a 5-watt 100. Anyway, never mind. That's what this one's working still. Now I can't see where I'm going with it. I gotta be able to touch the right lead. I think maybe I've got that all covered with, yeah I do. So I can get there anyway. I think I've got it all covered with what you call it? With shrink wrap. I may have to remove that up some. But the good news is the main cap, the big cap, it is dead. There's only a few little drops left in it. There's another big cap behind it And I think I see it's exposed. I can get to it actually. So I can't get it to go dead. Now I can't see there's lights on there. And sorry guys, I got this little light on my decharger isn't very bright. There it goes. I can see it's doing it now. It is discharging. Okay. And you know, depending on what kind of load it got, it could take several minutes or go get dead real fast, which it's doing right now. So it's going dead. Whoopsie. Yeah, that's dead. Okay, so we got the caps dead once more. Okay, or at least not much charge left to them at all. Except for that one little cap in there. And what I'm going to do is very carefully see if I can't pull away and get to that little contact there. Just touch that leg on the of course again I can't see the brightness of the little globes in the way. The lamp hides the glow to it, but I think it's dead already. Yeah, it's dead. It holds. Okay, so the two major caps are now dead. You know, sorry, not dead, they're discharged. Alright, so they're safer to get my hands on those, which makes sense. Let's go this one last little cap. See if it's held its charge. Doggone it. Sorry guys, my bright light kind of shades the fact I can't see if it's got a light to it or not. This little light's not very bright. Nope, no power. Okay, so the caps are all now discharged, not dead. They're dead, I have to replace them. And if they didn't have a charge at all, that made me wonder, wow, what's going on with those? Okie dokie. Alright, now the first time I ran this up, I had all new tubes in here, okay, which are still in there. I've got like 6 new capacitors in there, plus the main capacitors that you can see right now that replace that canister. And those are the exact values that came from that canister. There's no changes, okay? So if that canister was correct, which I'm told it was correct, then the new capacitors should be true as well. Okay. Now, okay. So after the first run-up test, I am go ahead and check this board once again and see if anything took place that caused any problems. 62.53, and need to be writing this down too. Anyway, I will run down the list of the resistors and make sure they're still in value. Now, in value, what I mean is they should be very close to what they show in the signature. Now, unfortunately, these are only 3 banders, okay? Let's see if I got that right. No, sorry, these are 4, that's good. It's not so, oh, they're 3s. Geez, that's even more fun. These are silvers. So I've got that at least to know what type of values there are there. Plus or minus 5%, plus or minus 10%, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'll just call this resistor number 1. Number 1 is what? Try that again, guys. 62.56. Okay. And I'll run through this entire line of resistors, checking them. Now this is a kind of a unique board they put in here. The resistors aren't through holes, they're through little, like little V-type holders that look kind of like this, right? Sorry, let's back this up because I need to explain this. They're kind of like in little holders like this, and they're sitting there, okay? Making them much easier to remove once I put some heat from my soldering iron on it, okay? So let's go to the next one. This is resistor number 2, it's 6201. 2, 3, and these should be all the same because they're all the same resistor. All right, all all four of these next ones should be all the same values, real close to it. That number 3, 62.67, so they're all around 62, 67, that's still good. It was 65 point whatever, or what, you know, something much above what they're supposed to be. And I'll verify that here with a color check in a minute. Yeah, it'd be time to change them out. But so far, they're all kind of running true. So let's cut away and get these down. I'll tell you what the results were. Okay, so guys, I'm looking at this and I've got some, well, some of the resistors aren't testing properly because they're in circuit properly, but it looks like a few of these are way out of spec, and I still have to replace those. And there's a nanofarad cap in here that I got to replace. That probably went when the board or when the amp stopped playing. There's that weird ground in there. I can't understand what the hell that thing's for. Just kind of from one socket to the other. It's kind of like, what the hell is, just do this. But it looks like all the other solder spots are all good. They're not, well, there's a few cold that I will reflow, okay? But the wiring in them is, you know, really on it. It's not like it's falling off or it's not in contact with, but I will reflow that solder to make 100% sure. And this cap right here got this light on right now, we'll replace that. Sorry, resistor will replace that because this looks fried right under the ones that replaced, which is not a good sign, okay? Now my biggest contention is, did the 12 AX7s glow or not? Okay? Now unfortunately, I crossed my fingers hoping this amp would play when I turned it on, or get some kind of sound other than a hum from it. But stupidly, I put these covers up on the 12 AX7 so I couldn't see if they were glowing or not, if they were, you know, working or not, which was not a good idea. I wish I had not done that. All right, but we had no smoking, we had no overheating, okay, and the fuse didn't pop, so there's no ground short in it. There's something within the circuit that's wrong. That could be something modified that I remodified and did it, you know, badly. I'm not really sure. Of course, the final, you know, blame rests upon me doing this thing, okay? And as you can see, it is a wiring nightmare in here that is hard to clean up, because it is just a wiring nightmare. Little wires, old wires going everywhere, right? And I'll need to check the continuity on all these to make sure here in a minute with my voltmeter that they're still in contact with one another. You know, there's no shorts in those. And that's going to take a long time considering how many wires there are here, guys. Okay, so hang in there. I'll be back in a minute with some more results. Okay, this is a test with a Variac. I'm going to take them from 30 to start with. See how the tubes react. That's on 60. No, only to 90, never to 100.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I can't see what I'm doing here.
Right. Do you need a line?
No, I've got it right here. On my finger, I'm touching my finger. Okay. So on 90, just give it a little time. Okay, now I got the power tube coming on. Now they're coming up. The power tubes are coming up. But 87s aren't. Working again, and we'll let it run up some time before we give it back to you, and we'll check it. I put this in tube number, or I put this in the number 2 slot instead of the 1. It looks like number 1's worn out. I need to replace that. All right. for some reason your damn light bulb's not working, I gotta check that too. Okay? Okay guys, so basically we got the amp working again with some minor touch-ups to it, right? As well as getting a chance to feed those caps some more power. That helps a lot. So I drained them down and powered them back up again. This time around straight off the Variac. And I kept it on 60. I edited the film. I kept it on 60 about 5 minutes. Then I took it up to 90 for about 5 minutes, and they came on. And the you know, little tubes started glowing, doing what they had to do. But the tone's a little off because these little caps, these little resistors down here have to do with tone. I think those are bad. Let me check the values and get back with it. Okay guys, here's a little resistor board I gotta take apart. Let's take these off. Well, first thing I'm gonna do is try to take one off and see what the results are. Don't just disconnect every wire on it. I think this is behind it, but it's so dirty, who knows. Let's fit those in a little groove, that's all I can do. There's no hole there. Oh man, there's not enough groove there left. Alright guys, I'm going to stop this for a minute and get the magnifying glass out and see what the hell's going on behind this thing. If there's any more extra space I can get open with that soldering iron. Alright, we're back on the Gibson Titan guys. We've got it working again. Well, with the exception of the darn bulb socket is blown. It's worn out and there's no fixing it, you know, by repairing it. I've put in an inquiry about replacing it. It's going to take 10 days, 2 weeks to get one, and I don't think the owner's going to want to wait that long to get it after waiting this long to get his amp. I mean, it's taken forever to get these parts in here, guys, these oddball parts. In the meantime, I got to replace these wires back where they belong, as well as put on new resistors, okay? And it shouldn't be too hard, with the exception of these little brackets really suck. I mean, they really suck. I mean, if they had a hole in them, it'd be a lot better, and they'd hold these parts in here. And what I'm gonna have to do is somehow, I'm gonna somehow have to solder that in to position. Dang it. That won't stay in place. I might have to use a tool to hold that in place, and then put the resistor over the top of that replacement resistor. Of course, the replacement resistors are nowhere near the same size as these things. I mean, these are old resistors and they're same length, but just the width of them are different. They're same values. I'm not going to change the values up any. Again, I've got to deal with these loose wires in here. I'm trying to think what's the best way to do this. Solder those into position and then loop these resistors around these legs somehow, because they're just not going to hold in place. Dang it. And I don't want to short out these or pull these loose either. I have to replace them. That's the last thing I want to do. Go back through and replace everything in here. Just about done that anyway. Okay, so those are in position right now to hit with some solder, but then coming back, putting the proper resistor on there, it's not going to stay. It's going to fall right out of that little loop. Alright, so there's the resistor in place. And you see, beside it, those are 1/2 watt resistors compared to that other one. Of course, they're 375 on the link, so that tells me it's a 1/2 watt. And that's what I'm replacing it with. And they just get smaller as the years go by. So hang in there, guys. Okay, well, you can see the size difference there, guys, very, easily. And I was just talking to the owner via text. And the thing is, you never want these to sound like a brand new amp. See the little part there? You might have big hands out of the way. Anyway, we managed to capture the lead wire and the resistor. But as I was saying, we don't want these old amps to sound like a brand new amp. That'd just defeat the purpose, okay? Now, on some of these, that I've worked on, you couldn't help it. They had no parts to replace that were even close to what the original amp was. You know what I'm saying? So the amp would call for, say, a 30 microfarad at 550 voltage, something like that. You know, something oddball you couldn't get your hands on. And there'll be 4 of the darn things that you'd have to replace and nothing to replace them with, okay? That changes the tone of the amp, all right? And on these old expensive amps, players really don't like that, you know, real players don't. They don't want their 60-year-old amp to sound like a brand new Line 6, you know? It's like, no. And I used to go to a lot of trouble of trying to find new old stock for them when I had a source for them, such as I had one in Germany that I could get parts for it from a Fender distributor out there in Germany. Unfortunately, he sold out all his stock and left the business. This type of resistor board, like I said, they have a U-shaped cut to them that kind of saddles, you know, the part in there, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like this. And it saddles it in there between that V, you know, and it's not good, you know, because there's always that odd chance somebody could pull something out of there, but hopefully not, and we'll solder them and they're good. We'll see. In the meantime, this camera is really in my way, so I have to back this off, guys. Okay, so there she goes. I'm playing with a stick, guys, so it's not going to sound very good. Your little Gibson's finally running, okay? Ta-da! And the lamp's burned out, but the part's not come in yet. I wonder if you still want to do that or not. So, got running. I'll call you tomorrow until you come get it. Hang in there. Okay, y'all ready? You ready, Noah? Can you put that off for a minute or turn the light off? Okay, sit down, Noah. There you go. Sit down. Now, listen to your dad play. Hi, guys. Dave in Texas here. We've got Noah and Trevor's little Gibson amp that's 61 years old, working again, finally. Sorry for the delay, guys. Anyway, listen to this thing. It's beautiful. What do you think, Noah? Is it pretty cool to have a 61-year-old amp? Isn't it? It's neat, huh? Yeah. Of course, unfortunately, guys, earlier I blew a fuse on it by plugging it in, was on, and scared me to death. I thought I was going to end up shocking everybody around me. Pretty neat. You know, I like the way it breaks up when you're strumming hard because it's a tube amp. Yeah, that. There we go, Noah, do it, buddy, do it. Okay. Alright. Guys, Dave in Texas, if any questions, give me a holler. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Say it again, Noah.
Bye.
Cool. Thanks, guys.